feels good to know that, hey, this is what I've been trying to do, and these are the steps that I'm taking to get to that point, and that's the most exciting thing.
Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome to episode 24 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. Happy Friday. Actually, it's Saturday. I don't know what day of the week it is anymore, but I hope everyone had a great week. I had kind of a weird week, but all you can do is move forward, right? Just recorded 2 new episodes of the podcast a couple of days ago, and I've got a lot more exciting episodes coming soon, so I'm pretty fired up about that. But let's just get into this. My guest today is my friend Chad Jarry. Chad and his brother own a clothing brand called Wool Brothers, and they launched a few months ago, and they have been getting tons and tons of traction. I'm actually wearing a Wool Brothers hat right now, and I've had no complaints. Perfect fit, great quality, great hats for guys and girls too. They're not, really masculine or really feminine. They're just really cool hats that everyone can wear. But the momentum behind their brand is pretty insane right now. And so don't be surprised when you see Wool Brothers everywhere. Everyone's going to be wearing Wool Brothers, especially around Atlanta. They've got some cool Atlanta hats. But if you want to cop yourself some of that good, stay tuned until the end of the podcast, because I have a promo code for you guys to get 20% off. But I'll tell you guys the promo code at the end of the episode. But anyways, me and Chad had an awesome conversation. It was really cool to hear about the process behind his brand and how they got started. But this was a really fun podcast. Without any further ado, please welcome my friend Chad Jarry. All right. We're live, dude.
Oh.
Broadcasting to the world.
Oh, no. I don't want to do it. I'm just kidding.
I had to fart.
I can't do it. Turn it off.
That's awesome. So I'm here with my friend Chad Jarry.
Hello.
Sweet, man. So have you, I'm not going to be offended, but have you listened to any of the podcasts yet?
I have.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, Cece.
Nice.
Kohan, the kid, whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
So I listened to that one. That was a good one. He said he dropped my name in there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, so of course we had to do a follow-up podcast with the man himself.
Yeah, you have to, right? Have to.
Anytime anyone's name is mentioned, I have to get him on the podcast.
Put it on the list, yep.
Donald Trump, you're up, dude.
Yeah. I don't know what other names you put out there. I don't know.
That's funny, man. Well, I've kind of started off pretty much all my podcasts just like giving some context of like where you're from and where you were born and all that kind of stuff. So give people the rundown.
Okay.
The Chad Jarry story.
Chad Jarry story. I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, but I moved down here in the Gwinnett County area for majority of my life. So I've been doing that. Cece, I've known Cece for a long time. Just through, we actually do music. Obviously, he does a lot of music more than me. But yeah, so I've always wanted to kind of work for myself, I've always had that mindset, and just kind of like relaying it off of what this podcast was, I finally had an idea where I was like, hey, I think this would be, a good route for a brand company. So
yeah.
So that's what I currently do. So the company that I have is called Wool Brothers, and so what we focus on is kind of like leisure clothes, so like comfortable stuff, really just being comfortable like wearing it, right? Mm-hmm. So,
and like simple, I feel like too. It's not too crazy or flashy.
Yeah, it's not going to be crazy. It's going to be really simple stuff, because that's kind of just like how I'd like to gear it, and kind of incorporate just, the slogan is be you, be comfortable, right? Be comfortable, be you. So. It's really just being about like living your life, excelling in that, and like whatever it is. So our Instagram page is very adventurous, because that's how I like to have it, right? Like, but it could be that you're adventurous, like going hiking or going through the city. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you feel good doing it. So
that's awesome. I feel like right now, especially, people are kind of trying to figure out like there's this whole lifestyle apparel kind of thing where it's like, what can I wear that I can wear to the mall or like going out just on like a casual lunch, and then I could potentially wear it somewhere else, or do, you know, I can kind of wear the same outfit but also be comfortable. Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's really what we're trying to go for, like something where you could wear on a date, like you could wear out, casual wear, or you could wear just kind of hanging out. So
I feel you.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting. The launch has definitely had a lot of traction to it, and then it's good. I mean, very similar to this podcast, right? I mean, there's a lot of traction with this podcast too, and you just started it. So the possibilities are definitely endless. I mean, we would like to. So I don't want to say it's just me. It's Wool Brothers for a reason. So it's me and it's my my other brother Tyler, who we created it together. So we want to have everything from, you know, obviously hats are the big thing right now. Shirts, hoodies, beanies. I mean, it's endless the way that we can go. So it's exciting.
That's awesome, dude. And I feel like right now, especially brands, you got to have like a brand story kind of thing. And I feel like you guys are doing a really good job on Instagram and stuff, like crafting the story of like who would wear this type of clothes and like what, you know, where you would wear them, scenarios, stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's weird because it's I don't want to say it's a trial and error. Like you always want to have an idea. So we had an idea. We didn't force anything. And we just had an idea of where we wanted to take it. And I think you can kind of just piggyback off of that, right? So kind of learn the mistakes as you go. Hey, what are we doing? What can we change? Like, would this be better for the consumer? Like, would this be better? So it's always trying to find out, like, you know, the solution to it, which is always fun. But yeah, I mean, we had an idea going forward, like what route we wanted to take, what kind of clothes we wanted to make, and really go from there. I mean, the biggest thing was, you know, we thought it was just a really cool style. So coming up with the font, like, you know, very simple aspect of it. A lot of the proceeds, so we're going to start doing more charities and like have some of the proceeds go to foundations. The one right now goes to foundations for, like, some of the proceeds go to Ian Davis, which he was actually, his nickname was Wool. And so he kind of, which it's funny, this is actually weird. This is the day I think where he actually 6 years ago, he passed away. So we wanted to dedicate Wool in a sense where we can give back to his foundation as well. And give back to the community. And so,
and for people who are listening, what was his significance exactly?
He was just he was a really good friend of Tyler and mine, and the great thing about him was he just lived life to the fullest, which is really what I'd like to express as the company. You know, like when you put it on, I want it to feel like, hey, let's live life to the fullest and be comfortable doing it. And so, kind of just confident in your own skin type deal. So that's really the route we want to go, but we also want to give back. And so to that foundation, of course, and then along the road, you know, other foundations we want to set up as well. So it's always good, and it's a feel good thing too that you're giving back from that. Yeah,
definitely. I also feel like the current generation of, you know, like our generation, we want to do the whole give back thing, like the Tom shoes kind of.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I can't remember what they exactly call it, the 1-for-1 kind of thing. Like, you know, but it doesn't even have to necessarily be donating clothes to people or whatever. It's just like, you know, that when you're purchasing from this company, proceeds are going to a good cause. That's always cool.
Yeah, and we want to extend it too. I mean, there's other things that we'd like to do in the future. There's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of goals that we have to have in place, and eventually, you know, give clothing out, right, and really being a part of the community is huge.
Totally.
We'll definitely have that in place within, you know, the coming years.
That's awesome, man. So you started this with your brother, right? And is it your older brother?
It's my older brother. So
how much difference are you?
He is 2 years.
Wow, so you guys are pretty close.
We're really close. There's another brother too. I don't want him to get left out, Ryan.
What up, Ryan?
But yeah, he's a third brother. But yeah, me and Tyler are really close. He's only 2 years apart. And
how old is it? Ryan a lot older or something?
He's about 4 years older.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha. Cool. 4 years older than you, and then 2 years older than your middle brother, or 4 years.
Yeah, if you want to do the math, yeah.
Yes. Okay, gotcha.
That's accurate.
Okay. Yes. I was like,
confusing
which
me.
one is 4?
Like, what is this?
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And then, so like growing up, you know, you said you always wanted to kind of like own something or like start your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think like started that? Like, when did you have that first, you know, oh, I want to own my own business? Or
so I mean, it's weird, right? Like, I think when we're young, we never want to, and kudos to you, but most of us don't want like a desk job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we don't dream to be in a cubicle. Like, we dream to do these big things, and I think sometimes when we don't see the results right away, like, we could get discouraged, myself included. And I've always, I mean, like, there's goals, so that's kind of how I felt too, and it's just one of those things where you have to keep at it, you know, and eventually it'll come. Like this one, you know, it was turning a tragedy, honestly, into something positive. And I think that's the biggest thing, because we're going to have a lot of times where, you know, we're going to be down in the dirt, right? And things are going to be looking rough, but how do we turn that into a positive light without forgetting what happened? Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing for us, really. You know, I mean, he was really close with Tyler, and, you know, I could tell that it affected him, and we wanted to do something to give back, and we also want to do, you know, more than just that. We want to give back with, you know, multiple foundations and really go from there. And I think doing it the right way, like that's it definitely gives you passion. Like, it motivates you to get up every single day too, right? And follow that. I mean, you know, like, it's exciting. It's exciting to do the podcast thing, and it's
you've got like fresh blood in it. It's like a new idea. You're like pouring all your time and energy into it. There's like life in it. And especially when you start getting traction, like people actually buying your clothes, or people actually listening to the podcast, or whatever it might be. Yeah. Like, that's super exciting, and it just motivates you to keep going.
Yeah. And
that's really
but
cool.
It feels good too, right? Like, it feels good to know that, hey, this is what I've been trying to do, and these are the steps that I'm taking to get to that point. And that's the most exciting thing. I mean, I was reading some little article about, you know, people who've started their own companies, and a lot of it, like Mark Cuban, right, who didn't have anything, and now look at him. I mean, there's a lot of times where your back's against the wall, but it's either like you perform or you don't, you know, and that's really where you have that incentive to keep going and say, okay, what do I really want to do? You know, I think that's the biggest thing. Is a lot of times people can say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But they always push it off. Next thing you know, you're like 35, 40, 50, and it's like, where's the time gone? Where have I invested my time in? And I mean, it's not easy. Like, it's definitely not easy when you're doing a full-time job, but you just have to realize, hey, you have to put in the work in order for that to see basically the fruits of your labor. So yeah. And you graduated from where again? Where'd you go to school? I went to school at Georgia State. Okay, gotcha. My first year I was at OCC in California. Okay, cool. Came back over here, transferred over here. Why'd you come back? It's expensive, man. Yeah. It's obviously California, right? Yeah, California's awesome, man. It's great, but it was expensive. Yeah, so. Makes sense, man. Yeah, and especially as like a freshman, it's like a lot of times, you know, when I think of freshman year, it's just like the party year kind of thing. It was. Yeah. I was like, I was like trying to figure out, because you have to get a job. I was getting a job, and I was doing like door to door, selling products. Oh, geez. Like, what were you selling? Knives. Oh, was it like Cutco? Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't want to like plug them in. But yeah. I was gonna That's so funny. I was going to keep it private. I know, right? That's hilarious. I said it, not you. That's hilarious. That's so funny. I did that for a little bit, and you can make actually good money with that. Like, I know a guy that made like decent money doing it, but it's not fun, obviously. It's intense, but and I know, like, we don't have to keep talking about the company itself, but I know a lot of times like the recruiters are really intense, like, give us a list of everyone you know kind of thing, and they hit them up
and it's just like really intense. Because I've gotten calls from people like that, like, "Hey, your friend Chad told us that you were like really into this kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And it's like he never really said that.
Do
He
you
just
cut
like
fruit?
yeah. Have you ever used a knife? Yeah.
Oh, your knife's dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I did that for a little bit, and then I ended up coming back home. And I mean, obviously, man, I just miss my friends and family too. That'll play a huge role. So I finished up eventually at Georgia State.
Nice. That's cool. And then, like you said, you were doing like door-to-door sales and stuff. Has sales been something that you've always been like kind of into the idea of?
Yeah. So I originally wanted to do speech pathology. I mean, I thought it was interesting, like just giving back and helping, people that really need it. Like I wanted to help like little kids with speech impediments. Like I feel like it's really important to obviously like give back, and I just feel good when I know that I've helped someone really develop as a person. So that was the original goal. Studied for that, and then I said, you know what, let me try sales for a little bit, because I just feel like if you're good at sales, you're good at a lot of stuff, because a lot of times our career can transfer over to our personal life, like work-life balance. You always hear about that, but totally. I think it goes hand in hand. So I ended up doing sales for a little bit. I was doing telephone, business-to-business telephone sales after college, shortly after college.
So you were like actually selling, what were you selling?
I was selling like anything from like desk phones, like office desk phones.
Oh, like you were literally selling phones.
Yeah, I was selling. I didn't go to door. This wasn't door to door. It was business to business, but it was still, I was doing sales.
Because when you said you were selling phones, I thought you were saying like, I'm hitting the phones, like calling businesses, trying to get them to buy something, but you were literally selling them
that was literally
the phones.
Like voice over IP, like data servers, routers, everything like that.
So you probably know a lot about phones.
A little bit. I was doing that, and then now I am a recruiter for a company right now. So it's a lot of hours, right? So that's why, that's where I'm saying, like, once you get home from work, you just have to find that extra energy to at least put in some time for like what you actually want to do.
Yeah, like right now I feel like the side hustle is so big for people. They're like, you got to have your 9 to 5, but you got that side hustle that's what you're really invested in. That's how I am with the podcast right now. Like I've got a full-time job, but I mean, last night I barely slept because I was like trying to get this one podcast out today that I knew I wanted to be out today. Like all this stuff, and I knew that if I wasn't passionate about this project, I would not have the type of motivation.
No, but what's crazy though is that whenever you're doing it, so when we're thinking about new styles, new logos, what type of product we want to put out next, time flies by, and it's like next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's really not even like work. It's just what you enjoy to do. As cliche as that sounds, I mean, it's true, So that's the craziest thing about it.
Yeah, that's so true. Like when you're, like I said, I'll be like working on stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, shit, I have to be up at like 8. What the hell? Yeah, but it happens. So wasn't your brother into like woodworking kind of stuff too? Like I remember you were showing me some stuff like that. Like he was kind of artistic in that way. When does he still do that kind of stuff?
He does. Well, he doesn't do it as much, obviously, because we really want to invest into World Brothers. But he had something called Jarry Rustic Creations, and that was off of. So I probably get everything off of my dad. My dad he loves to create stuff all the time with his hands. He's really good. He started that making like wood coolers, like very rustic looking. So he was doing that, and then Tyler followed very shortly after that. And so he was doing that for a little bit. And then I had a good buddy going to Georgia State. I had a good buddy who was big into like fashion, shoes, everything like that, and that really got me into that too. And I always wanted to create something, because we try to create something from scratch, like a little clothing line, just so I could get some ideas about, hey, how do I want to go about this company? And it really helped me as far as pushing this and promoting Wool Brothers. And so his creativity, with my creativity as well, it's just a good mix with the company itself.
That's really cool. And then as far as like, tons and tons of people, have had the idea like, we should start a brand. We should start a clothing company. Like, you know, so many people that I know are like, dude, we should just like start a brand, dude. Like, let's make some, you know, like let's sell some hats or whatever. Yeah. So like, what is like the actual steps that you guys did? Like, if someone's out there and they're like, dude, I know I can do that or whatever. Like, what do you actually need to do? You know, like, what are the practical things?
So the first step would be have an idea, right? Like have a direction of where you want to go. What is it first? Like if you need to write it down, but know what you want to have, know what you want to sell, know what you want to create. It could be anything. And then after that, like it's about, okay, well, once you find out what that is, give yourself, write down goals, like short-term goals, long-term goals with it, but give yourself enough time to develop that, because we had the idea, but we sat on the idea, because you could change your mindset in like a month, right? And then it'd be completely different, and then you're back to square one. So make sure that's what you want to do, and then fully invest your time in it. If you're not 100% sure in it, then you're not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not going to put as much effort into it. So we took the time. We said, this is a good idea. And then the other one would be just take risks. Like, you're never going to know unless you don't do it, right? And so we took risks. I said, you know what? Like, let's do it. Let's just see what these hats are. Let's try these hats out, test these hats. And so having that leap of faith is honestly the biggest thing. Like, what separates, I don't know, you from somebody else, right? We could say anything. And it's like, well, what separates that 1% or the 2% or, you know, whatever percent that actually get up and do it? You know, it's just taking that risk and doing it. Now, I'm not talking about, I think there's two routes, right? Like, you do hear those stories with those celebrities like, oh, I was in a car for 5 years, you know, eating ramen, and now I got an Oscar, you know? And like, that's very cool. Like, that's badass. But I think you should also, like, step by step have a plan too. Totally. Like, there's two ways of getting there.
Don't not pay your rent.
Yeah. Like, there's two ways of getting there. Obviously, that's a way where you just say you drop everything. And I'm not saying no to that. I'm not saying yes to that, because it depends on the person, right? So like, if you have that need, obviously you're going to fight and claw your way to the top. Or you could go another route where you're still doing a part-time or a full-time job. Just know that you're going to have to invest a lot of money into it, a lot of time into it, and then you can still fund. So the biggest thing, man, is whatever paychecks you get, instead of spending it on materialistic stuff, invest in what you want to get back. That's the most important thing. And so that's what we do is, you know, he's in sales right now, I'm a recruiter. We focus on Wool Brothers so much that we invest in that too. So have an investment, like, know what you're going to invest in, know the plan, like, know exactly what you want to go for as far as what's the idea, and then taking risks.
Totally.
So those would be the top three, and then sticking with it, which is probably the easiest of those three, because it's what you're passionate about. You know what I mean? No one's twisting your arm and forcing you to do it, because like you said, you're up 2, 3 a.m. and it's like no one's telling you to do it. You just want to do it.
Totally. And it's cool when you have a partner, like you have your brother. Yeah. So you kind of like have each other's back, and you're both putting in the work. And
that's another thing too. And that's where you'll see a lot of companies when they first started, it may start with one person, but they always pair up with somebody else, right? So there's a lot of people where they either pitch the idea to somebody else who can invest in it, which is always important if you can invest yourself, but still having that accountability. So, you know, the great thing about Tyler and I is that I'll say, hey man, where are we at today? Like, with orders, great. You know, this is what we need to do. Cool. We want to launch this collection here. Are we on track? And it's a piggyback, but that's also what's going to like keep you going and light the fire under you to keep going and set those goals.
Totally. The cool thing that I've found about the podcast is, since like on every episode I'm collaborating with someone new, there's almost that accountability. There is, kind of, because it's like that person on the other end is like, yo, when's this episode going to be released? Because I just spent the time to like record it with you. Like, when's it going to be out? So now I've got a fire under my ass to like get it out. Which is cool, because like typically I think a lot of times when someone's making something like a song or whatever, and they're sitting in there editing it, there's no time frame and there's no expectation of when it needs to come out or when it is going to come out unless you've like publicly said my album's dropping on this day, blah blah blah, stay tuned. But even if you do say that, probably not very many people are going to care anyways if it's late or whatever.
No, it's not. But I think research, and don't quote me on this, but I think research shows that the more people you tell about your goals, the more likely you're going to set it.
That is very true, especially for me. I know that if I tell somebody something, I'm more likely to let myself down than let other people down. Exactly.
And so do that, right? Like if you're somebody who has goals, tell everybody. You know, have that accountability.
That's great advice, man. Because I think a lot of people, they're like, one day I'll do this. But like if you kind of manifest it and put it out there into the world and tell people, then you're either going to look like an idiot or you're going to make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the little things that really help. I mean, there's a lot of books that I've read, like as far as sales, business. I know you got a couple of them over here, right? And it's important to keep learning and being hungry. So the biggest thing that I try to think about all the time is why try to figure it out on your own when there's so much help. Like there's so many people that have done it before. Like read what they do. Totally. You know, like we're in a place where people have tried and failed and failed and failed and failed, and then they're successful. Don't try it yourself and do the same route. See what they've done and go there. You know, there's so many books you can read on. Like I think a lot of times when people are trying to start something new, they're kind of scared because they're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, you're right. Like, you're not going to know what's going to happen, right? We don't know the outcome. We only know the process. The process is what's going to get us to the outcome. But there's so many books. There's so many, like, developmental, you know, everything that you have that's going to help you where you can definitely get to that point.
Totally.
You just have to put in the work.
Yeah. One thing that I've heard a lot is, like, people, they get so... They have no idea and they're not reading the books, right? And there's that person that never executes because they don't have the knowledge and they just don't know how to do it. And then there's another group of people that is the complete opposite, where they read every book and they know everything, but they never actually execute on anything because they're too scared. And it's like they're waiting for every green light to be green before they start on their journey. And it's like, you're going to hit some red lights.
Well, I will say that I think people wait until, quote unquote, the right time. There's never a right time. So that's why I think taking risk is the biggest thing, because I didn't feel like we were ready, but we launched it. But I'll tell you what, once you launch it, or once you launch whatever it is or release something, that's when you're like, okay, well now this is, you know what I mean? This is big time. Like, let's go. So then it's just kind of giving you that extra push that you need to go through the process and just go with it.
What was your pre-launch like? Like, what was your strategy before you like announced it or whatever you did?
That's a good question. So marketing obviously is a huge thing, and a lot of our stuff is, you know, word of mouth, like, which is good. I think it's an amazing thing, but we want to make sure that, you know, whoever buys from us, that they enjoy what they like and they keep coming back. I mean, that's it's all about, you know, how do you like your hat, right? Like stuff like that, and really focusing on that. And so that's why it's important for us to make sure that, you know, word of mouth is going to be always a big one for us. And then we use Instagram. We do have an Instagram page, War Brothers. And then that's kind of it right now. So even with, you know, limited access to marketing for now, it's been pretty good, which is awesome. So.
That's really cool. That's really dope. Yeah, like, I feel like the launch, you've got to have a good strategy behind, like, how you're just going to, like, pump it out there. Like, once you finally do launch it, like, for me, with the podcast, I was like, I set a goal to launch it on my birthday. Yeah. Because I knew that on Facebook.
And you did.
Yeah, and I did. And I knew that on Facebook, on your birthday, tons of people will go to your Facebook page and write on it.
That's a good idea.
So I was like, how can I kind of hack that? So I made my profile picture, my Andrew Deitch podcast, like, logo, and put, like, in my cover photo, like, now on iTunes, blah, blah, blah. And so I made a big deal about it, but it was also my birthday too. So, like, that was one of my strategies. And it kind of, like you said, there's never a perfect time. I didn't have as many episodes as I wanted actually on my birthday because I wanted to have 10 and I had 8. But I was like, it's good
really
enough.
Good, yeah.
It's good enough, and like I need to just like do it.
Yeah, and that's the way you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because I've always thought that would be a really creative idea to just kind of the traffic hack of the birthday, because that's probably the biggest day.
Dang it, man!
You know?
I should have launched it on my birthday.
Now you're having doubts. No,
I'm just kidding.
No, but seriously, like Facebook. One of the biggest things that people use Facebook for is they're like, oh shit, it's my friend's birthday. I would have never known that unless it was on Facebook, And that's one of the biggest, because if it wasn't for Facebook, like a lot of times you'd probably miss your friend's birthday unless they were like your really good friend or whatever.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people I didn't know or whatever writing on it. And another thing that's cool, I feel it definitely applies to your business as well. It's like when you put something out there, people are curious. Because you've got people like from high school that probably haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah.
You've got people from your past. You've got your parents' friends. You've got all these different people that you've kind of accumulated throughout your life that kind of pay attention to what you do somewhat.
Yep.
And then as soon as you like take the initiative and do something, people are like, oh shit, like what's he doing?
Yeah.
Is he onto something?
Should be able to like hit you up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. And it's funny, like people hit me up like, yo dude, I've always wanted to be on a podcast, and I'm kind of like, but I barely know you, and like we talked like one time at a thing, and like you're not really doing it.
Oh, you're already getting those texts?
I've gotten a couple. I it's only been like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But like to be fair though, I've had a couple people that have hit me up that want to be on the podcast that I didn't know that were really cool. Like I had this guy named Will Foskey. He's a stand-up comedian. Mm-hmm. I launched the episode last night.
Nice.
And that was like super awesome. We had like a mutual friend. He's like, yo, dude, I listened to your podcast with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be on the podcast. And I just like YouTubed his stand-up comedy. I was like, dude, this guy's hilarious. Like, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was like a cool thing because,
you get connections through that.
Totally.
Like you said, we've had a lot of people too that have reached out to us and just say, hey, this is awesome product, or we love your hat, or hey, I bought like 5 hats, and
that's so cool,
like
man.
That's awesome. Yeah, the amount of support that we've gotten for the company, but also like the amount of like positive feedback for the clothing, the hat, like it's awesome.
Why'd you guys start with the hat versus like a shirt or something?
I love hats. So I wear hats all the time, and it's just something that I feel like a lot of people like hats, and so.
Totally.
But I mean, everything is based off like, I don't know. So the whole persona of the company it's honestly it's how you perceive it, but most of it is like I'm a huge I like to go hiking, backpacking, traveling, and so I want to have that aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And like with that, you can always wear a hat. Gotta have a good hat, right?
Totally.
Like, and so, we're gonna appeal to the seasons. Obviously, have some hoodies come out. I think we're actually gonna launch a couple T-shirts really soon.
Nice.
And then go from there. But the universal one will be just a hat. You can always wear it and have it with you, like when you're traveling or doing something like that.
That's really cool. Another thing that I think about hats is like, especially in the Instagram world of today, like if you repeat outfits or whatever, people will like notice or whatever. Or if you're wearing the same shirt twice, like people will notice. But I feel like a hat does not have that same taboo. Yeah. Like you could wear the same hat every day, and people you don't always necessarily be like, oh, that's the guy with the blue hat.
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't wear it every day.
Exactly.
Because you know those guys, they have like sweat stains.
Exactly.
Like, all right, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've had that since 5th grade. Like you let go.
Exactly. I did a podcast with did you ever work with Zach at Lifetime, Zach McGreevy?
Yeah.
His girlfriend Cameron is a wardrobe stylist. Mm-hmm. We were talking about men's fashion and stuff. And one of the things you mentioned on the podcast was like, get rid of your ratty ass old hats that have holes in it and sweat stains and all that. It's like, get a new, crisp, nice hat. And get a Wool Brothers hat.
Hey, get a Wool Brothers hat. Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of colors out. We're gonna have more colors, coming soon.
That's awesome.
We want to focus on shirts, and then possibly.
I feel like you guys are like really kind of doing like the natural colors too. Like like the neutral kind of like
Yeah.
this burgundy one.
Yeah, so the natural, like most of them are gonna be like earth tone. We'll have khaki. We do have
olive.
some khaki. There's a woodland collection with strictly hats. It has ATL on it and wool. So, I mean, obviously ATL is our home, so we want to have that. So we do have a lot of ATL hats as well.
That's
just to support the city, you know. But yeah, no, that we're gonna have a lot of colors with that. But most of it, I think the core selection would be, you know, earth tone, green, you know, black, white, maroon.
Yeah,
that the maroon one that you have on is this. It's my personal favorite.
Yeah,
it's a staple.
I like. You don't see that many maroon hats, I feel like.
Yeah.
So it's something kind of unique.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it stands out too. You know, like
totally.
It's not too much, but it's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's really cool, man. Yeah, and another thing that you're saying, like making hoodies and stuff. Hoodies are another kind of staple piece where if it's basic enough, you could kind of rock the same hoodie a lot rather than having to have like a different hoodie for every day. You could rock it a few times a week and no one's gonna really like notice or whatever.
Yeah, like a gray hoodie.
Yeah, exactly. A gray hoodie. You could rock a gray hoodie like every day, especially if you throw like a denim jacket or something on top of it or whatever.
See, look at you. You already know.
There you go. Like if you know how to rock
with that hat.
With this hat, exactly. And then the hat is like the little color pop.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little color pop, but not too much.
That's very true.
Yeah. I'm fall time is my favorite time, so if we can get some stuff to launch during that time period,
that's awesome.
It'd be exciting.
So, like for hoodies and stuff, I'm assuming you guys are going to like a supplier that is already making hoodies, and then you guys are printing them, or how are you guys doing that?
Yep. So it's still in the drawing up stages right now. Most likely we'll print them out, and we go to somebody already, obviously, for the hats, and we'll start.
Yeah, it's not like you guys
shirts.
are sewing the hats.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've got a hat sweatshop in my basement.
Grandma. No. Shout out to my grandma. I love my grandma. I'm kidding.
Grandma's down there sewing hats.
You know, she's like, my fingers are hurting. Like, keep going.
If I have to sew another ATL on a hat,
another order. No. Yeah, so we go to our guy. He's awesome. He's really been helping us out with everything, and with like tight deadlines and everything. He's been great. And
that's cool.
And so the shirts are going to be very comfortable. They're going to have cotton with that polyester and rayon.
Ooh.
So it's like that tri-blend. Yeah. So, and that's the route that I'm talking about, right? Like being comfortable. Because when you feel good, I mean, you look good, you know, you play good. What's that Deion Sanders quote? I mean, it's just about feeling good and going out and conquering whatever it is.
Totally.
So we want to have the shirts that, you know, it's like that soft material.
There's nothing better than putting on like a good comfy shirt too.
Oh, yeah.
Because like you're looking through your closet and you're like, I could wear this like scratchy old t-shirt that I've had for years.
Yep.
Or could put on this like really soft one that feels amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's universal. Like you can wear it doing whatever, you know, like if you want to put some sneakers on and some jeans with that shirt, because it's not like popping out on you, but it's there. Like it's just a statement, really. Mm-hmm. That's the great thing about it too. So, but yeah, so he's doing the shirts, and then most likely we'll see what everything goes as far as like the hoodies and beanies and everything like that. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I feel like right now the whole kind of like simple, comfortable thing is just like taking off, obviously. Mm-hmm. And that's it's weird because I think that's kind of a not uniquely American thing, but it's pretty American to have that like comfort above everything else. Because I feel like a lot of times when you go to other like for example, I spent a lot of time in like Spain and Italy, and a lot of times they're wearing like very tight, tailored, button-down shirts and stuff that don't look that comfortable, or you know, you're wearing like more I don't know, just stuff that's a little bit, it looks less comfortable versus the more American look. Like right now I'm literally wearing like athletic shorts, like a t-shirt and like some sneakers, because I'm like in my house, I'm chilling, I'm super relaxed. Yeah. Well, there's different occasions for it, right? Like I'm a psych major, and so all of that stuff really intrigues me. There's a book that was like, it's on like the psychology of what you wear, and it's insane. I mean, but if you read it, it makes sense. It's like, well, if you feel good like wearing something, or a lot of times like if you wear like a bright red hat and you stand out, you know, like you're more apt to doing, you know, stand out stuff. And it's kind of crazy to think about that on a psychological level. It was hard for me to say for some reason. Like step by step. Yeah, sweating a little bit. Then it's just kind of crazy to think about on that level, but it's true. So, I mean, if I just feel like I mean, it depends on the occasion. Like, would we ever do button downs? Maybe. It's, you know, it's
good to just see
it's not
where
in
it
the books
evolves
right
to.
now, right? But even if we did that, like, we would probably do like a stretch or just a feel good button down where
Dude, those stretch button downs are where it's at.
they are amazing, you know? So it would be like good quality to the point where it's like you look good, but you still feel good in that occasion. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like also when you're kind of a smaller brand starting out, you got to go for that higher quality, because like other brands can just pump out shit quality and beat you on price any day.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that. Like, we do focus on the quality. Like,
it's really important.
I've been through so many hats testing just to make sure that that's the best hat. We're going through so many shirts testing just to invest in all these shirts to figure out, hey, we wash it X amount of times. Is it still going to stay true to itself? Like, I wear that hat all the time. Is it still going to keep its structure? And it does. And so that's the biggest thing for us, is making sure that it's top quality for that price.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's super important, because, I mean, there's so many options out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are trying to buy a shirt, you literally have millions of options to buy a shirt. So you've got to figure out, like, you know, like you said, the best quality for the money. That's really, really important. That's really cool, man.
Yeah. We definitely made a compromise on it, but it's good. Like, that's what it should be.
Yeah, there's like a bell curve. There's like diminishing returns. Obviously, you could go so high quality that the shirt's going to be $100 or whatever, but it's like, no, where's your market?
Like, why would you? I mean, no offense to anyone who does that, and that's fine, but I just feel like you don't have to pay that to get a quality like that, you know?
No.
So
I think a lot of those people, it's just like stroking their own ego, like knowing that they're wearing a $100 t-shirt is like cool to them. I don't know. Or the fact that they know that like no one else is going to wear that. I don't know. But it's like, if you're paying like $100 for like a heather gray t-shirt with like a weird pocket or something, like, okay, dude.
Yeah. Well, nowadays you can also go to like J. Crew, you know, and like get a shirt like that, and it's fine too. So
yeah, exactly. Dude, I wanted to talk for a second too about, like, I know that a while ago you were kind of doing like comedy stuff on Instagram, kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Whatever ended up happening with that? Because you're a funny dude. Like, people.
We were on. We were on Vine.
It was Vine.
And then,
Vine died.
You know, so there goes that dream. But
Vine created like some real superstars in its heyday.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I think we got out a little bit late, obviously, but there's a couple of videos where people of like companies have reached out to us and say, hey, can we use this video? And
wow, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we were doing Vine for a little bit.
Who's we? Like you and your friends, or?
Me and my group of friends. So Brandon Wolf, Thomas McConnell, Cece's in that mix as well.
Nice.
And, you know, Casey Wyndham, just a lot of Parker Littman, Austin Westfall, just a good group of guys who we're all very similar, like very fun, like to have fun, hilarious, like, you know, just try to live life to the fullest, and that's what it's about. And we created a Vine, and we were just doing, you know, it's Vine.
Little skits, little 7-second.
Stupid skits, yeah. And then that kind of died down. One of my buddies, actually, he's in the route of doing stand-up, so it's funny how you mentioned that earlier. So he's trying to get everything together, and so hopefully he can do that too. But yeah, I mean,
that's really awesome, man.
Yeah, we're doing that for sure.
Stand-up intrigues me so much.
Dude, I tell you what, he's done a couple shows, and it's really good, and it's just the most nerve-wracking thing. Like, I would maybe go up there. It's just, dude, that is intense.
Yeah, and you also have to you have to write. Like, you have to write jokes. Like, you have to sit down and figure out what your set is going to be. You can't just go up there and start making observations and trying to be funny and doing voices or whatever.
It's not going to go well. Yeah.
No, it's just so awkward.
Yeah, but it all goes back to how we started Will Brothers, is you prepare, you plan, and then the last step is actually getting up there and doing it. That's the toughest thing.
Yeah,
You know,
for
like
sure.
you could be ready to go, but if you don't have the mindset to do it, then you're never gonna have it. So
Yeah, my friend Will that was on the podcast, that was a stand-up comedian, he said that he and his friends were having a competition to see who was the funniest, basically. They were like, I'm funnier than you, blah, blah, blah. So they were like, okay, let's all sign up for an open mic night and see who gets the most laughs.
that's awesome.
And they all show up, and none of them signed up. They all fooled Will into signing up, and Will was the only one who actually signed up.
Wow.
So they all showed up to basically watch him
How did he do it?
Yeah.
Doing okay?
And he did. I mean, I wasn't there, but he said that since Ron White was there that night, that it was like a really packed crowd. So even though his set wasn't like the best because it was brand new, he still did well and like didn't completely bomb. So it was like really cool for him.
It's okay, and it's okay if you bomb. I've heard every stand-up comedian has bombed.
Oh, you have to. It's like you literally have to learn how to bomb.
It's inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you'd really like that podcast. It was really funny. He told a story about how he had to do a gig in front of a nursing home, like an old folks home, and like just bombed so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a tough crowd.
So
Probably because you gotta be
he
louder.
said the only time they laughed was when this one guy told a racist joke.
Oh my
And like
god.
that was the one laugh. He's like, oh, I should have thought of that. These old people are racist. Duh.
Oh man.
Should have
that's
thought
funny.
of that.
That is
Yeah,
funny.
it was pretty hilarious. But yeah, man.
Nice.
And then you also mentioned at the beginning you kind of did like music stuff with CC and stuff like that. Like how did you kind of get into that? Was it through CC or like when did you start kind of making music?
So Cece's background was, you know, you can listen to his podcast, but his dad was playing music, his mom was playing music, whole family was playing music, and that was the opposite for my family. I mean, we don't play any instruments, or we didn't play any instruments, and it just started one time where, you know, I was singing in the shower and I thought I was pretty good, you know, type deal. And I was like, oh, maybe I should, not bad, you know. I thought it was like thought it was just like the bathroom walls just being very awesome, like with my vocals. And,
Oh, totally.
And then so I reached out to Cece because I knew Cece, you know, made music, and we started making music. Plus Vibe was the band that we had, and I still do music. One of my good buddies, actually, James McConnell, who you should get him on the show. Actually, he's a recording artist.
Nice.
And he makes music right now. So what I do is I help with him, like writing songs for him.
That's really cool, man.
We'll write some songs down. Yeah, he's doing really well. And so that's really what I'm focused on right now. I'd like to have an EP out really soon. I don't know when yet, but
That's cool, man. So you would be like singing on the tracks and stuff? Or is it like rapping, or like what kind of?
For me, it's singing. Yeah, I'm not
Cool.
like an Asher Roth or anything. Like I just sing. Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's really interesting. Yeah. Have you ever thought about, like, because you kind of have that comedy side, like you said, have you ever tried to make like comedy songs, like Lonely Island kind of stuff?
It's funny. We have. I've never. Well, we recorded it just like on our phones.
Yeah. Never fully tried to produce it.
Yeah, which we could. Like, we definitely could. We have some ideas.
There's a market for it.
Yeah, which is, we could definitely do that. I never even really thought about that. Like, Wolf was going to do it. My buddy, he was going to do it on his stand-up, I think. And so James, which is the artist, plays guitar. So we've done a couple stuff with him playing guitar. And then Wolf just, being stupid and us, like, making songs. So
That's funny.
maybe it's in the future.
It's funny because you remind me a little bit of my friend Alex, and he just started. Not Alex Guthrie, the guy that is a musician that I just had on, but another guy, Alex Bayer, and he just put a song on SoundCloud. He was like, "Dude, I've been having this idea in my head of doing like comedy rap for like so long, and I finally like made a song, and here it is." And like dude, I listened to it. It was hilarious.
Really?
I was like, "This guy is killing it."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so cool. Like, he said he's been thinking about it for years and years and years. And he's like, okay, I just need to, like, get this idea out of my head and put it out there.
Well, the craziest thing, man, is you have all these thoughts. He's like, oh, man, no one's going to like it. What are people going to think? And it's honestly never that bad as you think when you put it out. You never know. Like, you could have really awesome stuff.
Totally.
So, if anything, this podcast is, like, just to give you more incentive, hopefully, to take those risks and do what you need to do to reach those goals, without having that regret.
But also have your standards too, because when I had the idea to start a podcast a while ago, and a little over a year ago, me and my friend Owen, I was like, yo, Owen, let's do a podcast together.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't have any equipment. I was like, let's just test it out. Let's just record it on my phone. And it was okay. But I had a vision for the podcast being more conversational, like what we're doing.
Right.
And he kind of had more of a vision let's make it let's have some topics, cover it, and then let's be done in 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And my concept of it was totally different. So it kind of just fell apart after the first episode, basically.
Yeah.
But I love Owen, and I actually had him on as a guest. It was super fun. Gonna have him on again. But it was I had a vision in my head, and then I was just and then it took a year for me to finally get the balls to buy real microphones and real equipment and do it, because I also knew that if I was going to put out something that was just kind of shitty on my phone, the standard wasn't good, and then I wasn't going to be proud of what I was actually putting out. And so that's I think a big part of it too, is people don't put 100% in.
Right.
You guys, you're testing all the hats before you released them. You're putting in the work before the launch. It wasn't you were just kind of we bought some hats and wrote wool on it, and you guys want to buy them?
No.
You really have to put in you have to have your standards.
Yeah. Well, you have to have your standards. You have to set your standards first. What are your standards,
Mm-hmm.
So have that first. But I've been through so many designs, what I wanted to do. There's so many. If you go to our house, it's funny, there's boxes and boxes of just hats that are just not what we wanted to have out. So
that's cool though.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about doing giveaways of just giving away product?
We probably will.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are messed up.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, hey man, here's a messed up hat.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Totally.
So,
because as soon as I said that, I was kind of
yeah,
and you also don't want people repping it. If they're oh yeah, dude, I got this free hat, and then they're why is the L upside down or something?
Yeah. What's wrong with the L? Yeah. So and it's funny because we thought about it, and then we had the same conversation. Yeah, you can have our leftovers. No, we don't want to do that. When we give them away, it'll be the same quality that we make too. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly just a trial and error. We've invested a lot, and we're going to continue to invest a lot to make sure it's a good quality product.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you guys are doing all the fulfillment yourselves, shipping out everything. You guys are doing that, or do you have a?
Not yeah. So right now it's all us.
That's awesome.
And then eventually we'll have
keeping those profits tight.
Keeping the yeah.
Because as soon as you add in a fulfillment service, you lose a lot.
Yep.
Because my friend Luke, I had him on the podcast. He is a really crazy story. So when Donald Trump first came out with the Make America Great Again hat, it was a white Make America Great Again hat, and he just happened to wear it at one of his rallies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it was his slogan. And he looked everywhere online, and no one was selling Make America Great Again hats, not even Donald Trump.
Really?
So he found a company in China that sold trucker-style hats, found that would print it exactly how he wanted it, found a fulfillment center in Illinois or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he sold thousands of these Donald Trump hats.
That's crazy.
Before Donald Trump even was selling them.
Got on board with it.
Yeah. But he was dipping into his profits hardcore because he never even saw a full box of hats. He literally never shipped them from his house. So even though the hats were selling for he sold them for $17.76. That was the price. $17.76, the year the Declaration was signed or whatever. $17.76.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was his price, but I think he was only making a few bucks because once you factored in the cost of the actual hat, the labor, the fulfillment center, and he was working with such low numbers that they were just busting his balls on the profits.
Yeah.
But he still made a decent chunk, but it wasn't if he was shipping them himself, he probably couldn't have been able to handle the demand, but at the same time, it was dipping into his profits hardcore.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, those are decisions you have to think about, what's your net profit, how much you're getting, and how much you're investing back with the product. And so obviously with us too, we're going to start doing those proceeds to different foundations, which is awesome. Eventually it'd be cool to have the really the opinion on you, like you're deciding what foundation you want to get back to. I think would be really cool too. Like,
that's totally cool. Like at the checkout, you choose which thing you wanted to go to.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome because that way it's like you get to choose. I mean, it'd be everything from like, wildlife. I'm a huge animal. I love dogs. Like, when you go to the Facebook page and dude, I cry every single time. Like, I'll admit it. I don't care. Those dogs, they get saved. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Dude, I watched one the other day. There was like a dog crying uncontrollably because like his owner abandoned him, and I was like, I don't even have a dog. I've never had a dog.
Oh man.
And because my dad's allergic to dogs, and I was allergic to dogs when I was younger. I think I've kind of grown out of it. But even, dude, like just seeing like a freaking crying dog, like you're like, dude, that's a little guy. He's so sad.
He doesn't know what's happening.
He doesn't even know. It is sad.
It is sad. So I definitely want to get back at that. I mean, I want to get back to the youth. Tons of foundations we can really like try to partner up with. So it's cool to have that possibility as well.
And you've got to find foundations that are like actually helping too. Because it's like there's a lot of foundations out there where it's like you look at their actual like the donation amount that they actually get, how much of that donation actually goes towards solving the issue.
Cause, yeah.
Totally. There was a podcast I listened to a while ago, forget the guy's name, but it was all about effective altruism, basically like figuring out which of these, like especially the global ones that are like, helping people have access to clean water and stuff like that, like these big giant UNICEF and stuff like that. It's like, how much is their CEO making? How much
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's kind of creepy when you actually look into a lot of this stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff too with like, there's this, obviously the whole breast cancer awareness thing, wear pink. And it's like, a lot of times these pink stuff, and it says something about breast cancer, or maybe it has a pink ribbon on it. But none of their proceeds are going to anything about breast cancer.
Yep. Yeah, you would think they do the right thing about it, but you don't. So,
but they're just taking advantage of the fact that it's pink and people are going to buy it because it has a pink ribbon on it.
Which is never good. I mean, I'd like to do something where these are local places.
Love that.
Usually when they're smaller, they're local. It's more impactful to the community.
Totally.
So it would be more of like that level.
And if you're going to change the world, you got to start in your backyard.
Exactly. Right. So. That's the goal from the start, and then we'll move up there. But yeah, I mean, from what your point is, you never know, right? Like, and that's what's scary about it.
Yeah, totally. And so, like, as a company, you don't want to just be having your customers giving money to an organization that's like,
I want to make sure it's going back for a good cause.
That's awesome, man. That's good. Yeah, because it sounds like you said, you guys haven't implemented that yet, and it sounds like because you're trying to find the good organizations and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we have the that one foundation right now, the Ian Davis Foundation. Yeah. That we're definitely going to go ahead and like go through the pros as far as the proceeds go. And
that was kind of what the company was named after, right?
Yeah, it's definitely started through him. I mean, I definitely want it to have that like foundation through that, and then venture off towards because he was someone who lived a life to the fullest, right, and really took a grasp and a hold of life. I want this clothing to be a part of that too, where you are comfortable and you are going out and forth and really just living it to the fullest and being comfortable doing that. So and then just obviously through his foundation, we'll add it on to other foundations too.
That's really cool, man. Yeah. And I feel like our generation right now, we're realizing that that's the kind of thing we want to do, like live life to the fullest. Like we have the internet, we're able to see like, oh shit, there's like people out there that are literally living their dreams. Like, didn't realize that was possible.
But it is. And so that's why our page on Instagram, it's more of a blog. I mean, we'll have a lot of pictures where people will either send us stuff of the places that they've been to, and it's more of just a motivational page too, of like, hey, that person has done it, like you can too. There's one person, one of our good buddies, who's wearing a wool hat in Stonehenge. Like, that's
That's
very
tight.
cool, you know? And
That's
it's
so
just
tight.
like, yeah, I mean,
I'm sure that was like so cool when you saw it. You're like, holy shit.
yeah, I was like, oh, wow, it's awesome, you know? But it's also like, cool. Like, that's the epitome of what we'd like to do is like, hey, like, be smart, obviously, but take risks. And, you know, like, you only have one life. So do it and live it. And so exactly to what you said, like, that is the mindset. I think it's turning into that mindset, which is, you know, it's good. It's not a bad thing at all.
That's really awesome, man. So, I was going to say something earlier about the adventure part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if there was like some way to have like a contest or something like that of like, where can you take the craziest picture with a Wool Brothers hat or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, or like a contest of like, where's the dopest picture that you can take with a Wool Brothers hat or something.
Yeah, or like maybe place a wool hat somewhere. Say, can you find this wool hat?
That's a good idea.
You know?
Dude, one thing that I did was with, I don't know if you knew this, but I have these like Snapchat code stickers.
Okay.
So you know how on Snapchat you can add people with the little code?
Mm-hmm.
So I've like printed them onto stickers. I have one right here on this little thingy. So like it's a sticker that people can add you. So it's become my little like side project to just like stick those stickers
just
wherever
yours?
I go. Yeah. So
And
like
it's just
random
this,
people.
like it doesn't have...
Yeah, it's just the little code. It doesn't have my name. It doesn't have anything. It's just
Yeah.
a simple picture of my Snapchat code.
Yeah.
And so like random people add me. It's the craziest thing.
So it really works.
It totally works. And like especially when I'm traveling, that's my favorite time to do it because you meet the coolest people. Because like someone who's like cool enough to actually take their time to like scan that thing is going to be like an interesting enough person to
yeah. I mean, you're a personable guy too, so it's probably easy for you to do that.
It's crazy because so many people, especially I'll do it at like concerts or music festivals, I'll stick them up places and then I'll meet the coolest people.
Yeah.
And like I'll follow them and they'll be off at like a music festival or something I'm not at and I'm watching their story. I'm like, oh, that's so dope. Wish I was there. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing is like I'll stick one somewhere and I'll be like, this is going to get taken down in like a week or something. Like, I don't know if anyone will add me.
Are they this size or
they're all that
does it
size.
vary?
They're all that size. Yeah, they're all about like 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches or so. And I put one in the Barcelona airport. And it's like still there, like almost like a year later.
What?
And people add me all the time. Like this German kid added me the other day. Like this other girl added me the other day. Like I'm in the Barcelona airport, and it's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like
do you have like full-on conversations with these people?
Yeah, a lot of times I do because it's so fun. Like just to meet them and like,
so
where are you
cool.
from? Oh, that's so dope. Like, yeah, I live in America. And they're like, what? You live in America?
How did this happen?
They're like, how? What?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go to America. I've never been to America. And like we talk back and forth or whatever. The other day, me and some friends, we rented a boat and went up to this lake on Tennessee. This lake in Tennessee, and went rock climbing. And I put one on the rental boat. And like yesterday, a bunch of people that went and rented out the boat like added me from my Snapchat.
Dude,
sticker.
that's a genius idea.
It's pretty cool, awesome, man. It's like the epitome of leaving your mark because you're leaving your mark not just to like write your initials on something because that's like dumb. Like this is a cool way where it's like people
Andrew
can
loves with the heart.
Or like Andrew was
here
12/26 2015.
I actually wrote that, I think, in someone's birthday card.
Hags is so funny because it's such a good throwback because everyone knows what it means.
I did that, and then I was like, either that or cats.
What's cats?
Kick ass this summer.
Oh, K-A-T-S, yeah.
Use that one, yeah.
Kick ass this summer. Dude, I went to a private school, and people got in trouble for writing cats in people's yearbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like you would write something kind of mean or like something, I don't know, like, glad to be gone from Miss Johnson's class. And like someone else, dude, this is how lame my school was. Someone else would be like signing that person's yearbook and see that comment from that person, like tell the teacher.
Oh,
and like
man.
they'd get in trouble. Yeah.
Sounds
lame.
awful.
Yeah, so lame. I remember like someone said something about the principal in someone's yearbook and like got in major trouble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was super
careful.
lame.
You gotta be careful about yearbooks.
Yeah, man, that was my, yeah. Yearbooks are funny, man.
So anyways, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
though.
the Snapchat code thing is really cool. Yeah, I've been trying to think of a cool, like, something I can do with the podcast, kind of like that, like a sticker kind of thing, or like, I don't really know how I can.
I don't know, like.
Because the Snapchat code thing is cool because there's like a gamification almost, like find the sticker, like where's Waldo kind of deal. Those are the Snapchat glasses, by the way.
These are sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put these on before I leave.
Yes, those are the Snapchat spectacles. So like for people listening, they're like glasses that hook up to Snapchat.
Yeah.
And they film when you press the button. It's not connected to my phone right now. Well, number one, my phone's off, but my phone that it was connected to, I just broke it recently, so I haven't hooked it up to my new one. But it shoots circular video. So the actual video file, normally when you shoot a video, like the sensor is like rectangular, right? And so when you're watching the video, it's going to be in a rectangle. But this outputs to a circle, kind of like the ultimate fisheye lens almost.
Yeah.
So depending on how you have the orientation of your phone, if you have it vertical, you're going to see that much of the circle. If you have it this way, you're going to see that part of the circle. So depending on how you're holding your phone when you view it on Snapchat, yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, I got those for Christmas. They're kind of overpriced, but like it's a cool toy. It's kind of fun.
Do you use it a lot?
I did when I first got them because it was like a cool kind of thing. But like I've just been so like busy with work and all this stuff. I haven't like found any cool applications to use them. But one thing I have been doing is like when I go to like the ninja course places and stuff, that's a cool thing.
That's your spot.
Yeah, the ninja stuff is super fun. And
would you ever do that? Would you ever try
the actual
Ninja
show?
Warrior? Yeah.
The
American Ninja
thing
Warrior.
about the show is it's a big commitment as far as like if you don't get invited to come, like because you can throw in an audition tape and they can be like, oh yeah, you're accepted, but you also still have to like wait in line like all day long, kind of like American Idol, and you just watch people fall and fall and fall all day. And then by the time that you actually get called, it might be like 4 a.m. You're already like exhausted from being up all day.
Yeah.
And then like you're just like, oh, I gotta get ready for this. And then like all this is built up to this one moment. And you're so excited and your adrenaline's pumping and you just like fuck up, like slip on a rail or whatever. But then there's people that they like invite, like they know they've scouted them. They know that okay, this guy's training. So they'll scout them out and they'll have a primo spot and they know for sure they've got the right camera angles to capture it and all that, you know. So it's kind of like American Idol. You know, they do that too. They'll scout out people that they know they'll, you know, oh, this guy's pretty famous in Atlanta, but he hasn't broken through. We'll invite him to be on the show.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they do that on The Voice. But then you can also, if you haven't been invited, stand in line all day.
They do that for The Voice too?
Yeah. Like my friend Alex, he did a commercial recently with Jennifer Hudson, who was on American Idol. And she's, I don't know if you know who she is. She's like an R&B kind of like soul singer. But anyways,
I think I've seen it. Is it
You've probably seen American Family Insurance commercial. Yeah, where the guy is singing and playing the guitar and she walks up. Yeah, that's my buddy. I just released that podcast today. Yeah.
No way.
Pretty cool, right? I know, that's the funny thing is like in my intro for the podcast, I'm like, you might not recognize the name, but you probably have seen this commercial, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my friend. Yeah. I'm actually going to his concert tomorrow night. But
very cool.
But yeah, so Jennifer Hudson though, she's actually going to be a coach on The Voice this season. You know how they have the coaches that they'll like, I want you or whatever.
Yep.
She's one of them. So she invited Alex to do a private tryout for The Voice or whatever. But he went through the contract and everything. Was like, they're going to take way too much from me if I win or whatever.
The winnings
like,
or whatever?
Yeah, the winnings, like they have the rights to like so much of your profits for like 7 years.
Dang.
And like they can extend it. Like it's big, and then you also have to sign some things saying like, even right now, I'm signing away the rights to even attempt to renegotiate this contract at a later time.
Wow.
Like you're signing away. You're kind of like it's now or nothing.
Like you're just caged in right now.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, on one hand, it's like that's a great launching pad.
Yeah.
It works. Like you can get famous from that. But at the same time, could you get famous another way and not sign away all the rights to all your music?
Maybe. I mean, that's
maybe
a whole different. That's probably a conversation you had with Cece, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
To go independent, which you can definitely make an independent, or to go through a record label.
Yeah, because the weird thing about record labels nowadays is you're basically only using them for distribution. Because back in the day, you had to have a record label because you had to actually print records. Like, what were you going to do? Sit in your basement and print vinyl? Like, no, you had to actually have a record label so they could put their label on your record. They made it. But now it's like the record labels, it's a totally different different world.
Different game, yeah.
So it's like these guys are kind of, you need to go through a record label because they're the ones who are the gatekeepers to the radio and the gatekeepers to the TV shows and the gatekeepers to the music videos and whatever. But I mean, the internet's turning that whole industry upside down for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to talk with you about it. My buddy James, I think he
man,
really
I'd love to have him
cool
on the podcast. That sounds really cool.
He was going through the same thing, and I mean, obviously he's signed right now, so
yeah,
he can definitely talk about that.
There's some interesting, like my friend, he's a manager for this like dubstep like duo in sounded so weird, dubstep duo. In
is that is that a name?
I know, right?
It could be one.
Their name is Chain Links is the name of their thing. It's like it's a boyfriend girlfriend thing. I know dubstep duo sounds, it's kind of cheesy.
Someone's gonna listen to this and they're gonna take it.
They're gonna take it. It's okay. It's free. You can have that one free of charge. Just mention
$5.
Just yeah, exactly. No, but anyways, so Chain Links though, they signed for like a single to a record label. So the record label would just put out that single, but they didn't sign any kind of long-term contract. It was just so that they could get that single out to more people so they could get some more recognition.
Which is a good idea, yeah.
Exactly. So I think in that sense, if you have like a single and you want to get it, out to more people, that kind of deal is not bad. But if you're signing one of those kind of, especially now because a lot of the record companies, they take a cut of your merch.
They take anything and everything you can think of. They're going to take a huge percentage of it.
Because that used to be how bands actually just made their money. Like the record label took all
through
the profits
that,
from
live ticket sales, but now they even go through there too.
Oh, totally. So. Yeah, they're pretty much like, any way that you're making money, we're taking a cut of it because we're responsible for your fame. So
yeah,
it's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is insane. It was a conversation that James and I had, and the good thing about, so I told him, I was like, look, at the end of the day, like, you got to think about, what you're trying to do with your persona of who you are as an artist, right? Because every band, like War Brothers is a brand of yourself. CC is his artist, like that's a brand of him. Like that represents him. War Brothers represents us. So whatever he does is going to represent him. And it depends on what he wants to go with that. And so the good thing about the record label is that they're going to invest in you, right? So they want you, they're going to push you. And like a lot of times, like, and this is going back to, well, what separates you, you from somebody else? What is getting that push and taking that step. And when you do that, like a lot of this stuff will be, percentage wise, which is something you definitely want to think about, right? Because that's huge.
There's pros and cons.
The pros and cons, but it's also like they're going to do everything they can to get you out there,
Exactly.
And so
because their success is yours.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's like one way is better than the other. Like that's why I think James would be cool on here because he could definitely like tell you the ins and outs of everything.
Yeah.
And just really like open your eyes towards that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the case for a lot of different realms. Like I did a podcast last night with my friend Heidi, and she's an actress, and she was living out in LA, and like was telling me all these horror stories of her manager just totally taking advantage of the fact that she's really pretty and has a great body. So he would only try to get her in roles where it was just T&A, tits and ass kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why won't you take me seriously? And he's like,
this is undermining everything else.
Exactly. He's like, I'm in it I know that this will make profit because sex sells, and I take a cut of your profits, so I'm going to go for these roles for you. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to seek out for you. And, you'll have to listen to that podcast because it's crazy how she ends up like firing him. It was pretty badass.
Dang, okay.
But nice. It is a cool story. But like I feel like in tons of industries, there's all these gatekeepers that the normal person has no idea that they even exist. Mm-hmm. But once you get into that world, for example, in clothing, you've got the gatekeepers of the retail stores, and that's really being shut down by the internet. With direct-to-consumer kind of stuff like you're doing. Yeah. Because that's the new thing. That's the new lemonade stand. It's like,
it's huge.
You just go direct-to-consumer, you got a website, you got a store.
Mm-hmm. So I used to work for a company called Warby Parker, and they're a newer company, and I feel like they do a lot of stuff the right way. So they really focus on the consumer. I love the morals that they have, the values, like the culture is really great. And I want to take a lot from that and put it into Wool Brothers, to the fact where, you're not, like, you're paying, again, it's like a lot of people will pay just because of the brand, and it's like, well, is it even good quality? You know what I mean? So really making sure that the consumer gets what you pay for.
Totally.
And you're satisfied. Those two things are really important, and really focusing on you, right? The customer, like the person who buys Wool Brothers gear.
And are you delivering like a unique product, like something that other companies aren't offering or whatever?
So we're really focusing. Well, look, there's only so many things you can do with hats, with shirts, right? And so we do have some stuff in the works that's pretty exciting for the shirts, like design wise, where you're still keeping the simplicity of it. I'm not gonna give it away, but
that's really cool.
Definitely, it's definitely gonna be different, and that's always good. Different stands out. So
yeah, dude. To go on a totally different, not totally different tangent, but you were just talking about the quality versus the brand thing. Literally right before you came here, I saw that Supreme and Louis Vuitton dropped their collection. Have you heard about this at all?
No.
So like Supreme, the streetwear brand, has a new collection with Louis Vuitton.
Oh wow.
Which is the most hype thing of all time.
Yeah, I imagine that's huge.
Yeah, and I was literally just looking through the product.
Must have been just going nuts.
I don't think it's like you can't buy it yet, I don't think, but they released the catalog, like the lookbook, or not even the lookbook, just like the catalog of what you can buy. And like, it's just crazy, but kind of like what you were talking about, the brand versus the quality, I 100% know that Louis Vuitton does put out high quality stuff, but at the same time, you could go with a lesser known brand that's putting out the same quality leather goods as Louis Vuitton.
Oh yeah.
People are gonna buy it because it's got the little pattern and it's got the logo.
Yeah.
Same thing with Supreme, probably even less. Like Supreme could put their logo on a turd and people would buy it. Like literally they could.
Yeah.
And the hype beast would be like, oh, turd, yes, Supreme turd.
This catalog. Sick catalog.
But like, what do you think? Because obviously you guys are trying to create like an iconic brand. Like, what do you think is the key to that? Like, how do you tap into that? Like, where you have such a cult following that they'll literally buy anything you put your logo on.
It's hard for me to say. Like, I don't ever want to speak for anybody else, but I feel like in a sense it's taking advantage of the consumer. Like, just because I have that hardcore follower. Now it's like, okay, well, I know they'll buy anything, and I don't want to do that. We want to have somewhere where it's in the in-between, right? Like, not, great quality, obviously, but have that in-between where, and that's probably the hardest thing is when you're starting out with a company, it's like, well, how do you keep that perception and the persona of it? And the first thing is always going to be good quality. And then the second thing is going to be how you perceive your company. So those are the two most important things. But there's going to be more things that are being obviously more expensive than others, but it's going to be, okay, well, this is because this is, a tri-blend t-shirt, right? And so to have those options, I think is a great thing too, right? So you can choose. So Andrew, if you go on there and you're like, hey, you know what, maybe I'm not feeling this one, but I have this option to get this one that's a little less expensive, then we can do that. So eventually I'd like to go that route too, where you have the option to figure out what you want to do. But at the end of the day, like, we're never gonna break the bank as far as the products. Like, I want to be fair to you.
That's really awesome. Yeah. I don't know if you really know the company Young and Reckless is like started by Drama from like Robin Big.
I actually have a Young and Reckless t-shirt. Yeah,
I totally did from back in the day. It was like a huge screen print like skater thing. And he actually has a podcast called Short Story Long. It's actually really good for anyone listening. So I totally recommend it. But it's interesting hearing his story because he kind of started that brand as like a skater, kind of big, huge, colorful screen print designs. And now he's totally transitioned into more neutral colors, better like quality kind of stuff. And it's interesting because you were just talking about, I want to make stuff that's not going to break the bank, but also you want to make stuff that you want to wear, right?
Right.
You want to wear stuff that you're proud of wearing. Like, you're going to be rocking Wool Brothers hats because they're cool.
Yep.
And that's what you like to wear.
Yep.
And that was the dilemma that Drama was having was, I created this brand that I now have grown to hate. Like,
right. Yeah.
Because the people that are wearing my brand are not the type of people that I like to hang out with. And when I'm wearing it, it's like these flashy, crazy designs, and I'm trying to be more subtle and rock like a white dad hat, and like a tan sweater or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and it's funny though. It's funny you say that because I think that's why it's caught so much fire with our local group, because you know we all kind of think alike as far as that. Like, you know, it's a very cool hat. Like it's a very trendy company that we want to have, and I've always liked the simplicity of that stuff, and so we'll still keep that route. Like, still stay true to yourself. You know, always. I mean, you always want to adapt too, but at the end of the day, it's if I feel good about it, if Tyler feels good about the product, I think that's the biggest thing. Ultimately, is hey, this is what we feel good, and I know the consumer is going to feel the same way. That's
awesome, man. Yeah, because you don't want to be rocking something that you don't even want to wear.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst.
Yeah,
it's the ultimate poser move.
Yeah, you never want to do that, right?
No.
So, and I mean, I wear it. The only thing that I wear is wool.
That's awesome, dude.
And it's cool. It's a really cool feeling.
That is a really cool feeling when you've created something that you actually like. That's so badass, man. Dude, I feel like there's a good kind of place to like wrap things up. Do you have like, obviously, you have Wool Brothers to promote and all that. Mm-hmm. So people, where can they find if they want to buy Wool Brothers stuff or follow you guys or whatever?
So woolbrothers.shop is our website. So you can just obviously type
.shop. That's a new one.
.shop.
Yeah, because they just released a whole bunch of domain names. I think .shop is like one of the new ones. That's
a
cool.
new one. So that's going to take some getting used to, because most people think
that
.com,
.shop
but
though.
we liked it a lot. So
it's unique because people will kind of, I feel like now listening to this, people will remember it more because they're like, oh, .shop.
.shop, yeah.
.shop.
So yeah, that's the website. We'll have more marketing outlets as well, but Instagram is the other biggest one. So just @WoolBrothers. There's a link to the website as well in our description.
Link in bio, dog.
Oh yeah, all that good stuff, baby.
Link in bio.
Got a link in bio. Tag me. Yeah, so we have that, and then it's just a really cool page. I always want to put at least a picture, post a day or every 2 days to definitely show what we're doing, and so it's a very cool. It's a fun site to follow.
Do you guys ever use the like Instagram stories thing?
Yep. So we do that too. A lot of times, so I keep the page interactive, and so we get a lot of people that send us pictures of them wearing the Wool Brothers hats or places that they've traveled that they'd love to put on the website. So a lot of this stuff will be interactive with our fans and our customers and put them on the story.
That's cool. Yeah. That is cool.
And so that's really where the stories go. Sometimes we'll put them on the website too, on the actual page, but most of the stuff where you'll see on the story is just other people like wearing the hats too and enjoying it.
That's really cool, man. That's tight. Yeah, I feel like Instagram stories, at first I was not a fan. Because I was like, this is just a copy of Snapchat.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like so deep into Snapchat.
Yeah,
so you
probably boycotted.
Yeah, and I totally boycotted. I was like, fuck Instagram stories.
Oh, yeah.
Like I literally was all against it. But now that I have the podcast Instagram, I'm like, this is cool. Because I can show like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you actually.
Yeah,
follow you on Wool Brothers for sure.
Dude, sick. I'll make a post too, of course.
Yeah.
But the stories is cool because you can put obviously like the behind the scenes kind of stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to see. And Snapchat is so freaking difficult to start a following on because there's no way of discoverability.
That's true.
On Instagram, it's so natural to discover new stuff all the time and follow new people every day. It's very rare that you're going to just stumble upon someone cool on Snapchat. You have to manually add them in or find their Snapchat code. Or like or on Instagram, people are like, add me on Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. And so you're like, oh, that's cool. Or they were already in your contacts. That's like the only ways that you can add people.
Yeah.
And like Instagram stories are so organic because the discoverability is great and they're putting tons and tons of effort into that product right now. Like
filters, everything.
I hate to say it because I knew
It's smart,
it's such
though.
a direct copy of Snapchat, but Snapchat is sleeping, dog. They're sleeping. They haven't figured it out.
And they probably know it. I'm sure they're figuring something out too.
Yeah, but like
Instagram's where it's at.
But anyways, yes, everybody follow Wool Brothers.
Yes.
Check out their story, all that kind of stuff. And if people want to ask you questions or anything like that, or like all that kind of stuff, should they shoot you a DM on there, or where should they hit you up?
You can shoot us a DM. We're really interactive. Like, obviously, we love to just hear what you guys are thinking. So, feel free to shoot us a DM, shoot us a message, and we'll definitely get back with you. Like any questions that you have or anything like that. So, send us pictures of you wearing the Wool Brothers hats, everything, and we'll put it on there.
Dude, for sure. That's awesome, man. Well, Chad, this is super fun.
Yeah,
podcast,
brother.
Man.
This is good.
Of course. And we'll talk to you next time, peeps.
Yeah, man.
Boom. Always with the boom. Hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. It was a really good one for sure. I really want to thank Chad for being on the podcast. It was really dope to sit down and, just hear the story behind their brand and the process behind what they do. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at Wool Brothers and go to the link in their bio. That would be woolbrothers.shop, WOOL brothers.shop, and check out their collection. But wait, Andrew Deitch podcast listeners can use the promo code VIP20. That's VIP20 to get, you heard it here, folks, 20% off your order. So with that code, you can get one of their dope signature hats that I'm wearing right now for only $20. $20. Get a super dope hat for $20. Come on, you can't beat that. They've got a couple of other hats that you can get for even cheaper. And you guys know you need a dope hat to finish out the summer, right? And for the rest of the year. Everyone, you can wear a hat year round. You can't beat that. You can't beat these hats, yo. So go to woolbrothers.shop and get yourself a Wool Brothers hat. And you can get 20% off. Use a promo code. All right, episode 25 is coming out soon with my friend Graham Burns. Graham works on set for the #1 TV show in America, The Walking Dead. Whoa. Pretty crazy, right? And he's also been involved with a bunch of other cool productions. But on this episode, we talked about what it's like working on set, how we got into the industry, an inside look on some of the stuff that, us normies on the outside just don't even think about when it comes to producing such a huge production like The Walking Dead. But that episode will be coming out early next week, so stay tuned. If you want to support the podcast, you guys already know. Best way to do that is through iTunes and also just sharing the podcast with your friends. I just did a poll on my Facebook yesterday, and it sounds like most of my friends discover new podcasts because their friends recommend them to podcasts, or they're at the top of the iTunes new and noteworthy section. Excuse me. So if you guys can keep sharing and downloading and rating, that will really go a long way. iTunes, I'm really trying to get into the top new and noteworthy section there, but also the only way we're going to get there is through more downloads and more ratings. So the more you guys share the podcast with your friends that you think would actually enjoy this stuff, that really helps a lot too. If you want to go follow me on my social media platforms, the best way to find me is to go to my website, andrewdeitch.com. It's Andrew, DEITSCH.com. You can find links to all my social media handles. I just had a giveaway on my Instagram. That's at AD Podcast. More cool stuff is going to be planned soon, but make sure you go follow me on all that stuff. But you guys are the best. Thank you guys so much. I will see you all on the internet. Goodbye, everybody.